Jake Morrison could not believe his luck. He was really here, standing in the main hall of the Galactic Academy of Sciences. The 19-year-old student from Colorado had dreamed of this moment for years. Now he was the first human to join the exchange program on Kepler 442b, a planet far from Earth. The academy was huge and amazing. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that changed colors. The ceiling was so high that Jake could barely see the top. Strange plants grew everywhere, and they seemed to glow with their own light. But what really caught his attention were his new classmates. Jake had never seen so many different kinds of beings in one place. There were tall, thin creatures with blue skin and 4 arms. There were small, round beings that looked like they were made of metal. Some had wings, others had tentacles, and a few seemed to be made of pure energy. His roommate was the most interesting of all. Zefter was from a species called the Vexnary. His body was made of living crystal that sparkled in the light. When he talked, his voice sounded like wind chimes. At first, Jake was nervous about living with someone so different, but Zefter turned out to be very kind and helpful. "Do not worry about the other students," Zefter told him on his first day. "They are curious about humans, but they are good people. You will make friends quickly." Jake's first week was full of new experiences. He learned that the academy had students from over 50 different worlds. Each species had their own way of learning, their own customs, and their own languages. Jake was grateful for the universal translator device that helped him understand everyone. His favorite class was xenobiology, taught by Professor Mildana. She was a centaurian with 6 arms and large compound eyes like an insect. At first, Jake found her appearance scary, but she was one of the wisest teachers he had ever met. She knew everything about life forms from across the galaxy. "Understanding different species is the key to peace," she often said. "We must learn about each other if we want to live together in harmony." Jake's study group included some of the most interesting students in the academy. There was Tessara, who came from a water world called Nereid Prime. She had blue-green skin and gills on her neck, and she could breathe both air and water. She was very graceful and always spoke in a soft, musical voice. Then there was Kalveth, a massive creature from the grasslands of Tau Ceti. He stood over 8 feet tall and had thick, gray skin like an elephant. Despite his size, he was incredibly gentle and kind. He was also one of the smartest students in their class. There was also Vorthek, a warrior from the Drachneri species. His people were known for being brave fighters, but Vorthek was studying to become a doctor. He had red scales and sharp teeth, but he was actually very funny and loved to tell jokes. For 3 weeks, Jake felt like he was living in a dream. He learned about planets made entirely of gas, where floating cities drifted through the clouds. He heard about worlds where the trees were made of metal and sang in the wind. He discovered that some species could change their shape at will, while others could live for thousands of years. But the most exciting part was when Professor Mildana announced a special project. Each student would give a presentation about the most dangerous predators from their homeworld. Jake listened with amazement as his classmates described incredible creatures. Tessara talked about the shadow stalkers of Vega 3. These creatures could become invisible and walk through solid walls. They hunted by reading the thoughts of their prey. Just thinking about them made Jake shiver. Kalveth described the acid worms of Proxima b. These giant creatures lived underground and could spit acid that would melt through metal starships. They were so dangerous that entire cities had been abandoned. Because of them, Vorthek spoke about the psychic parasites of Volf 359c. These tiny creatures could control the minds of their victims. Once they got inside your head, you would do whatever they wanted. Whole armies have been defeated by these invisible enemies. As Jake listened to these stories, he started to worry. Earth had dangerous animals too, but they seemed so ordinary compared to creatures that could read minds or walk through walls. What could he possibly talk about that would interest his classmates? The night before his presentation, Jake sat in his room with Zefter. He had been thinking about this for hours, and he still was not sure what to say. "What is troubling you, friend Jake?" Zefter asked. His crystal body was glowing softly in the dim light. I do not know what to talk about tomorrow, Jake said. Everyone else has these amazing predators with supernatural powers. Earth just has regular animals. Regular animals? Zephyr tilted his head. Tell me about these regular animals. Jake thought about it. Well, there are lions and tigers. They are big cats that hunt other animals. There are sharks in the ocean. They have lots of sharp teeth. There are bears in the forest. They are strong and can be dangerous if you surprise them. These sound frightening, Zephyr said. But surely there are others. Yeah, there are crocodiles. They live in rivers and swamps. They have powerful jaws and can stay underwater for a long time. There are snakes that are poisonous. Oh, and there are elephants. They are huge and can weigh several tons. Jake paused, thinking, you know what? Maybe I should talk about hippos. Most people think they are cute and harmless, but they are actually really dangerous. Hippos? Zephyr's crystal body seemed to flicker slightly. Yeah, hippopotamuses. They live in rivers in Africa. They look like big, fat pigs, but they can run really fast and they have huge teeth. They kill more people in Africa than any other. Large animal? Zephyr's glow dimmed noticeably. You said? Hippopotamus? Yeah, why? Have you heard of them? But Zephyr did not answer. He just stared at Jake with what looked like shock and fear. The next morning, Jake walked into the xenobiology classroom feeling more confident. He had decided to talk about hippos because they were unexpected. Nobody would think that a plant-eating animal could be one of Earth's most dangerous predators. Professor Mildana called his name, and Jake stood up in front of the class. His alien classmates looked at him with curiosity and interest. He took a deep breath and began to speak. Hi, everyone. I want to tell you about one of the most dangerous animals from my home planet Earth. Most people think this animal is cute and harmless, but it actually kills more humans than almost any other large animal. The class was paying attention now. Jake smiled and continued. The animal I want to talk about is called a hippopotamus. The reaction was immediate and shocking. Every single alien in the classroom went completely silent. Jake watched in amazement as his classmates' faces changed. Tysara's gills started fluttering rapidly. Kulvith's massive frame began to shake. Vorthek, the brave warrior, actually took a step backward, but the most surprising reaction came from Zephyr. His crystal body, which usually glowed with bright, cheerful colors, suddenly became pale and almost transparent. He looked like he might faint. Professor Mildana's 6 arms stopped moving. All of her compound eyes focused on Jake with an intensity that made him uncomfortable. Human student Jake Morrison, she said slowly, and her voice was shaking. Did you just say hippopotamus? Jake looked around the room in confusion. Every alien was staring at him with expressions of terror and disbelief. Some were whispering to each other in their native languages. Others looked like they wanted to run away. Yes, Jake said carefully. I said hippopotamus. They are large animals that live in rivers and lakes. They eat plants and grass. They are herbivores. The whispers in the room grew louder. Jake heard words being translated by his device. Death World, legendary beast, impossible. Are you making a joke? Tysara asked, her voice barely above a whisper. No, I am serious, Jake replied. They are real animals. They live in Africa. The room erupted in excited and frightened chatter. Jake stood there, completely confused, wondering what he had said that could possibly cause such a reaction. He had no idea that his simple mention of a hippopotamus was about to change everything. Jake stood in front of his xenobiology class, completely confused by what was happening. His alien classmates were all staring at him with looks of pure terror. Some were backing away from him slowly, as if he might attack them at any moment. Others were whispering frantically in their native languages. I do not understand, Jake said, looking around the room. What is wrong? I just said hippopotamus. They are animals from Earth? Zephyr, his crystal roommate, was now so pale that Jake could almost see through him. Jake, he said in a shaky voice, please tell me you are joking. Please tell me these creatures do not really exist. Of course they exist, Jake replied. They live in rivers and lakes in Africa. They are herbivores, they just eat plants and grass. They are actually kind of cute. The word cute made several students gasp in horror. Tisara, the graceful water creature, raised a trembling hand. Jake, you said they are herbivores. Plant eaters cannot be dangerous. That is impossible. Well, they are dangerous, Jake said, still not understanding why everyone was so upset. They are very territorial. They do not like it when other animals or people come into their space. They can be very aggressive. Professor Mildana moved to the front of the classroom. Her 6 arms were shaking and her compound eyes kept focusing and unfocusing on Jake. Class, she said in a voice that was trying to stay calm, I think we need to look at the galactic database. Computer, please search for information about the creature called Hippopotamus from the planet Earth. The holographic display in the center of the room flickered to life. A 3-dimensional image of a hippopotamus appeared, rotating slowly so everyone could see it from all angles. Jake thought it looked pretty normal, just a big, round animal with a large mouth and small ears, but as Jake looked at his classmates, he realized they were not seeing the same thing he was. They were all staring at the hologram with expressions of absolute terror. Computer, Professor Mildana said, please display the classification and threat level of this creature. Text began to appear around the hologram in multiple alien languages. Jake's translator device worked quickly to convert the information into English, and what he read made his eyes go wide. Classification: Class 7 Death World Apex Predator. Threat level: Extreme. Bite force: 1,800 pounds per square inch. Maximum speed: 30 miles per hour on land, 15 miles per hour in water. Temperament: extremely aggressive and territorial. Casualty rate: highest among African megafauna. Jake read the information twice, not believing what he was seeing. Class 7 Death World Apex Predator. That cannot be right. They're just hippos? Just hippos? Vorthak, the warrior student, said in a voice that was much higher than normal. Jake, do you know what a Class 7 Predator is? No, Jake admitted. Professor Mildana took a deep breath. Jake, let me explain our classification system. Class 1 predators are small creatures that hunt insects or other tiny animals. Class 2 predators are medium-sized hunters that might be dangerous to small prey. Class 3 predators are large enough to be dangerous to most species. She paused, and Jake could see that she was having trouble continuing. Class 4 predators are creatures that can threaten entire communities. Class 5 predators are so dangerous that they can wipe out large populations. Class 6 predators are mythical creatures that we thought could not exist because they would be too dangerous for any ecosystem. And Class 7? Jake asked quietly. Class 7 predators are theoretical, Professor Mildana said. We believe they were impossible because any creature that aggressive and dangerous would destroy its own planet. No ecosystem could survive with such a predator. Jake felt a cold chill run down his spine. But hippos have not destroyed Earth. There are lots of them. Exactly, Professor Mildana said. Which means your planet is so dangerous, so full of threats, that it can support multiple Class 7 predators. The room was completely silent now. Jake could hear his own heartbeat. Tisara spoke up in a voice that was barely audible. Jake, in our oldest legends we have stories about creatures called the beasts of the dark waters. The stories say they lurk beneath peaceful rivers, waiting to attack anything that comes near. They are said to be so powerful that they can bite through the hull of a starship. We thought they were just stories, Kalveth added, his massive frame still trembling. Tales told to frighten children. But you are saying they are real? Jake nodded slowly. Hippos do live in water. They spend most of their day in rivers and lakes. And they do attack boats sometimes. But they are not monsters. They are just protecting their territory. Computer, Professor Mildana said, please show us video footage of hippopotamus behavior. The hologram changed, showing a peaceful river scene. Jake recognized it as somewhere in Africa, probably Kenya or Tanzania. Several large, round shapes were visible in the water, looking calm and harmless. This looks peaceful, Tisara said hopefully. Then a small boat appeared in the video, moving slowly down the river. Jake knew what was about to happen, but his classmates did not. They watched in fascination as the boat approached the hippos. Suddenly, the water exploded. A massive hippo launched itself out of the river with incredible speed and power. Its mouth opened wide, revealing teeth that looked like white daggers. The creature's jaws clamped down on the boat with a crunch that could be heard even through the video. The reaction in the classroom was immediate. Several students screamed, others fainted. Zephyr's crystal body became so pale that he was almost invisible. Even Professor Mildana stepped backward, her 6 arms raised defensively. "Turn it off!" Vorthek shouted. "Turn it off!" The hologram disappeared, but the damage was done. Jake looked around the room at his terrified classmates and finally began to understand what was happening. "You have never seen anything like this before?" he said quietly. "Nothing," Tassara whispered. "On my world, the most dangerous predator is a fish that is about the size of my hand. It has small teeth and it eats other fish. We thought that was terrifying." "On my world," Kalveth said, "the worst predator is a creature that is about as big as you, Jake. It hunts in packs and has sharp claws. We have to be very careful around them, but they usually avoid us." Jake thought about this. "What about the shadow stalkers you mentioned? The ones that can walk through walls? They are very rare," Tassara said. "Maybe one appears every few hundred years, and they are not really from our world. They come from another dimension." "The acid worms I talked about," Kalveth added. "They live deep underground. Most people never see them. They only come to the surface during volcanic eruptions." Jake was starting to understand. "So these super dangerous predators you all described, they are not normal parts of your everyday life?" "Of course not," Vorthek said. "They are legendary creatures, monsters from our worst nightmares. We study them to understand the most extreme possibilities of danger." But hippos are just normal animals on Earth," Jake said. "They live in the same places where people live. Humans swim in rivers with crocodiles, walk through forests with bears, and surf in oceans with sharks." The silence that followed was so complete that Jake could hear the air recycling system humming in the walls. "Jake," Professor Mildana said slowly, "are you telling me that humans regularly encounter Class 7 predators?" "I guess so," Jake sighed. "I mean, my family went on vacation to Africa last year. We saw hippos in the wild. We also saw lions, elephants, and crocodiles. It was really cool." "You saw them in the wild?" Zephyr asked, his voice cracking. "And you survived?" "Well, yeah. You just have to be careful. Stay in the vehicle, do not get too close, and listen to your guide." Jake noticed that several students were now staring at him with a different kind of expression. It was not just fear anymore. It was something like awe. "Computer," Professor Mildana said, "please search for more information about Earth's ecosystem and predator population." The hologram activated again, showing a world map with red dots marking the locations of dangerous animals. Jake watched as more and more dots appeared, covering almost every continent. "This cannot be accurate," Professor Mildana said. "No planet can have this many apex predators." "That is not even all of them," Jake said helpfully. "That does not show snakes, spiders, jellyfish, or any of the smaller dangerous animals." Several more students fainted. "Smaller dangerous animals?" Vorthek asked weakly. "Yeah, like the blue ringe octopus. It is really tiny, but its bite can kill you in minutes, or the box jellyfish. Just touching one can be fatal." "Oh, and there are these spiders in Australia that are so poisonous that they can kill you with one bite." Jake paused, looking around the room at the terrified faces of his classmates. "Are you all okay? You look kind of pale." No one answered. They were all too busy trying to process the fact that their human classmate came from a world that was basically a living nightmare, and Jake was just getting started. Within hours of Jake's presentation, news about the hippopotamus spread across the entire galaxy like wildfire. The story was too incredible to believe, but also too terrifying to ignore. A human student had casually mentioned a Class 7 predator. As if it was no big deal. Jake sat in his dormitory room, watching the galactic news feeds with growing amazement. Headlines in dozens of different languages scrolled across his screen. Death World Student confirms river demons are real. Human survives among legendary beasts. Hippopotamus, the aquatic nightmare exists. Zephyr was sitting across from him, his crystal body still dim with shock. Jake, do you understand what is happening? The entire galaxy is talking about you. I still do not get it, Jake said, shaking his head. They are just hippos. Yeah, they are dangerous, but lots of animals are dangerous. Not like this, Zephyr said quietly. Jake, I need to tell you something. In our oldest stories, passed down for thousands of years, we have legends about creatures called the river demons. They were said to be impossible beasts that could destroy entire fleets of ships. We always thought they were just myths. Jake's translator device chimed, indicating an incoming priority message. The holographic display activated, showing a stern-looking woman with short gray hair and a military uniform. Jake Morrison, this is Dr. Elena Rodriguez, human liaison to the Galactic Council. I am arriving at the Academy tomorrow morning. We need to talk. The message ended, leaving Jake staring at empty air. Who is Dr. Rodriguez? Zephyr asked. I have no idea, Jake replied. But she did not sound happy. The next morning, Jake found himself in the Academy's main conference room, sitting across from Dr. Rodriguez and several alien officials he did not recognize. Dr. Rodriguez was a woman in her 50s, with sharp eyes and a no-nonsense attitude. Jake, do you have any idea what you have done? She asked, activating a holographic display. Look at this. The display showed news feeds from across the galaxy. Jake saw his own face on what looked like alien television programs, with text scrolling underneath in languages he could not read. This is footage from the Centauri News Network, Dr. Rodriguez said. They are calling Earth the planet of nightmares. This is from the vegan broadcasting system. They are asking if humans are actually a warrior species in disguise. Jake felt sick to his stomach. I just talked about hippos. I was not trying to scare anyone. That is exactly the problem, Dr. Rodriguez said. You talked about a Class 7 predator the way most people talk about household pets. Do you know what that tells the galaxy about Earth? That we have dangerous animals? No, Jake. It tells them that Earth is so dangerous that Class 7 predators are normal. It tells them that humans are so tough that they can live alongside creatures that would destroy entire civilizations. Dr. Rodriguez activated another display showing a complex chart with different colored sections. This is the Galactic Threat Assessment Scale. Every known planet is classified based on how dangerous it is to visit. Jake studied the chart. Most planets were colored green or yellow, with a few orange ones scattered throughout. At the very top, in a section colored deep red, was one single entry. Earth. Class 10 Death World, Dr. Rodriguez read. Previously theoretical. Ecosystem so hostile that survival requires extreme adaptation. Inhabitants must be considered extremely dangerous due to environmental conditioning. But that is not fair, Jake protested. Humans are not dangerous. We are peaceful. We just want to get along with everyone. Jake, let me show you something. Else, Dr. Rodriguez said. She activated a new display showing what looked like a military briefing room. Several high-ranking alien officers were seated around a table, discussing something with serious expressions. This is from the Galactic Defense Force, Dr. Rodriguez explained. They are having an emergency meeting to discuss whether Earth should be quarantined. Jake felt his heart sink. Quarantined? They are afraid, Jake. They think that if Earth is this dangerous, then humans might be too dangerous to be allowed to travel freely through the galaxy. The door to the conference room opened, and Professor Mildana entered, followed by several of Jake's classmates. Tisara, Kalveth, and Vorthek all looked nervous and frightened. Dr. Rodriguez, Professor Mildana said, we need to discuss this situation. The students are terrified. Some parents are demanding that their children be transferred to other schools. Understand, Dr. Rodriguez said. But we need to find a way to fix this. Jake, I need you to answer some questions honestly. Are there more dangerous animals on Earth than hippos? Jake thought about it. Well, yeah. There are lots of dangerous animals. Can you give me some examples? Jake took a deep breath. Okay, there are great white sharks. They can grow up to 20 feet long and have rows of razor-sharp teeth. They can bite through a surfboard or a small boat. The alien students gasped. Taisara's gills fluttered rapidly. There are also saltwater crocodiles, Jake continued. They can grow up to 23 feet long and have the strongest bite force of any animal on Earth. They can stay underwater for an hour and ambush prey from below. Kulveth made a whimpering sound. Then there are Kodiak bears. They can weigh over 1,500 pounds and run up to 35 miles per hour. They have claws that are 6 inches long and can tear through metal. Vorthik, the warrior student, was now visibly shaking. And there are blue-ringed octopuses. They are tiny, but their bite contains enough venom to kill 26 adult humans. In minutes, there is no antidote. Several students had to sit down. Jake, Dr. Rodriguez said gently, I think that is enough examples for now. But I have not even mentioned the really dangerous ones yet, Jake said. Like box jellyfish, inland, taipans, funnel web spiders, cone snails, or deathstalker scorpions. Stop, Taisara pleaded. Please stop. Dr. Rodriguez looked around the room at the terrified alien students. Jake, I think you are beginning to understand the problem. To you, these are just normal animals that you have learned to live with. To the rest of the galaxy, they are monsters from their worst nightmares. But humans are not monsters, Jake said desperately. We are just regular people. We go to school, we have families, we like music and movies and sports. We are not scary. Jake, Zephyr said quietly, yesterday you mentioned that humans have pets. What kind of pets do humans have? Jake smiled, thinking this was a safe topic. Oh, we have lots of different pets. Dogs are really popular. They are loyal and friendly, and they protect our homes. What are dogs? Kulveth asked. They are descended from wolves. Wolves are pack hunters that can take down prey much larger than themselves, but dogs have been bred to be gentle and friendly. The room went silent. You domesticated pack hunters? Vorthik asked in a whisper. Well, yeah. Thousands of years ago, they are great companions. We also have cats. They are perfect hunters with excellent reflexes and sharp claws and teeth. They are really good at catching mice and birds. You live with predators? Taisara asked, her voice barely audible. They are not predators when they are pets, Jake explained. They are family members. My dog sleeps on my bed. My cat brings me presents. What kind of presents? Professor Mildana asked, though she looked like she did not want to know the answer. Dead mice, mostly. Sometimes birds. She is very proud when she catches something. The alien students looked like they were about to faint. Dr. Rodriguez stood up. Jake, I think we need to have a longer conversation about this. But first, I need to contact Earth and let them know what is happening. She activated her communication device. This is Dr. Rodriguez calling Earth Defense Command. We have a situation. The galactic community has just learned about our planet's ecosystem, and they are terrified. We need to send a full briefing about Earth's wildlife and human survival. Adaptations. Jake watched as Dr. Rodriguez spoke with officials on Earth. He was beginning to understand that his simple presentation about hippos had changed everything. The galaxy now knew that humans came from a world that was basically a living nightmare, and they were not sure what to do about it. Jake, Zephyr said quietly, I have one more question. Are there any creatures on Earth that scare humans? Jake thought about it. Well, there are some pretty scary things, like the Australian funnel web spider. They are really aggressive and their bite can kill you in 15 minutes. And there are these things called bullet ants. One sting feels like being shot, and the pain lasts for 24 hours. So humans do get scared? Taisara asked hopefully. Oh. Yeah, we get scared. We are just used to being scared. We have learned to live with danger. Dr. Rodriguez finished her call and turned back to the group. Jake, the situation is more serious than I thought. The Galactic Council is meeting tomorrow to decide whether to quarantine Earth. They are afraid that if humans are tough enough to survive on a Class 10 death world, we might be too dangerous to be allowed to travel freely through the galaxy. Jake felt like his world was falling apart. But that is not fair. We are not dangerous. We are just trying to survive. That is exactly what makes you dangerous, Dr. Rodriguez said sadly. You have survived on a planet that would kill any other species in the galaxy. That makes you either incredibly lucky or incredibly tough, and the galaxy thinks it is the latter. As Jake sat in that conference room surrounded by terrified alien students and worried officials, he realized that his casual mentio. The next morning, Jake woke up to find the academy surrounded by military ships. Through his dormitory window, he could see sleek vessels with the markings of the Galactic Defense Force hovering in the sky. Armed soldiers were patrolling the grounds, and everyone on campus was nervous. Jake, you need to come with me, Dr. Rodriguez said when she arrived at his room. The Galactic Council has sent a special investigation team. They want to conduct a full assessment of Earth's threat level. Jake followed her through the academy halls, which were now much quieter than usual. Students huddled in small groups, whispering nervously. Many of them stared at Jake as he passed, their expressions mixing fear and curiosity. In the main conference room, Jake found himself facing a group of the most intimidating beings he had ever seen. At the head of the table sat Commander Rixtel, a tall insectoid creature with razor-sharp mandibles and 4 arms. His species, the Mentari, were known throughout the galaxy as elite warriors. Human Jake Morrison, Commander Rixtel said, his voice clicking and buzzing through the translator. You have caused quite a disturbance. We are here to determine whether your species poses a threat to galactic security. I am not a threat, Jake said, trying to keep his voice steady. I am just a student. Perhaps, Commander Rixtel said. But you come from a world that harbors creatures we thought were mythical. We need to understand the full scope of what we are dealing with. Dr. Rodriguez activated a holographic display. Commander, we have prepared a comprehensive briefing about Earth's ecosystem. But I want to emphasize that humans are peaceful. We have no intention of harming anyone. Intentions can change, Commander Rixtel said coldly. What matters is capability. If humans can survive on a Class 10 death world, they possess capabilities that could threaten the entire galaxy. Jake felt a chill run down his spine. What do you mean? Think about it, human. Your species has evolved on a planet where Class 7 predators are common. You have developed reflexes, intelligence, and survival skills that no other species possesses. You are living weapons, whether you realize it or not. Professor Mildana entered the room with several of Jake's classmates. They all looked terrified, but they had come to support their friend. Commander, Professor Mildana said, I have been teaching Jake for several weeks. He is gentle and kind. He would never hurt anyone. Perhaps not intentionally, Commander Rixtel said. But let me show you something. He activated his own holographic display. Showing a video feed from Earth, Jake recognized it as footage from a nature documentary about African wildlife. This is from your planet, Commander Rixtel said. Watch carefully. The video showed a peaceful river scene. A group of tourists was taking photographs from a safe distance when suddenly a massive crocodile erupted from the water. It was moving with incredible speed toward what looked like a small antelope, but then something unexpected happened. A human park ranger appeared in the frame, running directly toward the crocodile. He was shouting and waving his arms, trying to scare the predator away from the tourists. Stop the video, Jake said quickly. He is not trying to fight the crocodile. He's just trying to distract it. Exactly, Commander Rixtel said. A human saw a Class 6 predator attacking, and his first instinct was to run toward it. Any other species in the galaxy would have fled in terror. The room fell silent. Jake realized that what seemed like normal human behavior to him looked like insane bravery to everyone else. Let me show you another example, Commander Rixtel continued. The display changed to show underwater footage of a human swimming with great white sharks. This is impossible, Tassara whispered. No one can survive in water with Class 7 predators. This is a marine biologist, Jake explained. She studies sharks. She uses a protective cage. The cage is not the point, Commander Rixthal said. The point is that she chose to enter the water with creatures that could kill her instantly. This is not normal behavior. Jake was starting to understand why everyone was so afraid. We are not fearless. We are just careful. We use tools and knowledge to stay safe. Show us, Commander Rixthal said. Explain how humans survive on your death world. Jake thought about it. Well, we learn about dangerous animals from a young age. We know which ones to avoid and how to behave around them. We use vehicles to travel safely through areas with large predators. We build fences and barriers to keep dangerous animals away from our homes. And if those precautions fail, Commander Rixthal asked, then we adapt, we learn, we find new ways to stay safe. Dr. Rodriguez activated another display. Commander, let me show you something that might help you understand. This is footage from a human wildlife rescue operation. The hologram showed a team of humans working to save a group of elephants that had fallen into a mud pit. The elephants were massive, weighing several tons each, and they were panicking. But the humans were working calmly and methodically, using ropes and machinery to pull the animals to safety. These elephants could easily kill any of these humans, Dr. Rodriguez explained. But the humans are not afraid. They are focused on helping. Why? Commander Rixthal asked. Why would humans risk their lives to save creatures that could destroy them? Because we care, Jake said simply. We share our planet with these animals. We want them to survive too. The alien students looked confused. Vorthuk raised his hand. Jake, if these animals are so dangerous, why do humans not just eliminate them? Because they are not evil, Jake replied. They are just trying to survive, like we are. The planet is big enough for all of us. Commander Rixthal's mandibles clicked. Rapidly, you are telling me that humans choose to coexist with Class 7 predators? Yes, Jake said. We have national parks where dangerous animals live safely. We protect them from poachers and hunters. We study them to learn more about them. This is unprecedented, Commander Rixthal said. Every other species in the galaxy either eliminates threats or flees from them. Humans do neither. Actually, Dr. Rodriguez said, there is something else you should know. Jake, tell them about human emergency response teams. Jake was not sure where this was going, but he answered, You mean like firefighters and paramedics? Yes, explain what they do. Well, firefighters run into burning buildings to save people. Paramedics go into dangerous areas to help injured people. Search and rescue teams climb mountains and go into collapsed buildings to find survivors. The room was completely silent. Jake could see that his classmates were staring at him with a mixture of awe and terror. You are saying that humans voluntarily enter life-threatening situations to help others? Commander Rixthal asked. Of course. Jake said, that is what heroes do. Heroes? Tassara asked weakly. Yeah, people who risk their own safety to help others. Every human culture has stories about heroes. Commander Rixthal stood up and began pacing around the room. This changes everything. We thought humans were dangerous because they survived on a death world, but the truth is worse. Humans are not just survivors, they are protectors. How is that worse? Jake asked. Because protectors are willing to fight against impossible odds. Commander Rixthal explained. They do not calculate risks the way other species do. They see someone in danger and they act. Dr. Rodriguez nodded. Commander, I think you are beginning to understand. Humans are not aggressive. We are defensive. We have learned to stand our ground against the most dangerous creatures in the galaxy because we have to protect our families and communities. But that makes them even more dangerous, Commander Rixthal said. A species that will fight Class 7 predators to protect others will fight anything. Jake was getting frustrated. We do not want to fight anyone. We just want to help. We want to be part of the galactic community. Jake, Zephyr said quietly, I think I understand now. You are not dangerous because you are violent. You are dangerous because you are brave. Brave? Jake asked. Yes, on my world, if we encounter a dangerous situation, we call for help and wait for professionals to handle it. But humans do not. Wait, they act immediately. Kalveth nodded slowly. On my world, we avoid dangerous areas entirely. But humans live everywhere on their planet, even in places with deadly predators. That is because we have learned to manage risk, Jake said. We use technology, knowledge, and teamwork to stay safe. Commander Rixthal stopped pacing. Show me. I want to see how humans manage risk. Dr. Rodriguez activated a new display. This is a human city in Australia. It is built in an area that has some of the most dangerous animals on Earth. The hologram showed a beautiful coastal city with tall buildings and busy streets. It looked peaceful and normal. The ocean here contains great white sharks, blue-ringed octopuses, and box jellyfish, Dr. Rodriguez explained. The land has funnel web spiders, deathadars, and saltwater crocodiles. Yet 5 million humans live here safely. How? Commander Rixthal asked. Education, preparation, and respect, Jake said. Children learn about dangerous animals in school. Beaches have warning signs and safety patrols. Hospitals have antivenom. For snake and spider bites, we do not eliminate the dangers. We learn to live with them, and if someone is attacked, Commander Rixthal asked, then we help them, Jake said. We have emergency services, medical teams, and rescue workers. We do not abandon people just because they made a mistake. Commander Rixthal sat down heavily. 2 weeks after Commander Rixthal's investigation, Jake found himself in the most important meeting of his life. The entire Galactic Council was gathered in a massive chamber on the capital world of Kepler Prime. Representatives from hundreds of different species sat in curved rows, all facing a central platform where Jake stood with Dr. Rodriguez and several other human officials. Jake was nervous, but he was not alone. On the platform beside him sat a small orange cat named Whiskers, who had been transported from Earth specifically for this demonstration. The cat was calmly grooming himself, completely unaware that the fate of human galactic relations might depend on his behavior. Representatives of the Galactic Council, announced Chancellor Velneri, the leader of the Council, we are here to decide the future of Earth's relationship with our community. The question before us is whether humans pose a threat to galactic peace and security. Jake looked out at the assembled aliens. Some looked curious, others looked frightened, and a few looked openly hostile. He took a deep breath and began to speak. Honored representatives, I understand your concerns about Earth and about humans. I know that our planet seems dangerous and that we might seem scary to you, but I want you to understand who we really are. He gestured to his cat, who had finished grooming and was now sitting quietly beside him. This is Whiskers. He is a common house cat from Earth. To you, he might look like a small predator. And you would be right. Cats are perfect hunters with excellent reflexes, sharp claws, and keen senses. Several representatives shifted nervously in their seats. But Whiskers is not my enemy, Jake continued. He is my friend. He lives in my house, sleeps on my bed, and plays with my family. We have taken a predator and made him part of our family through love and trust. But how? Asked Representative Themis, a crystalline being from the Andromedax sector. How can you trust a predator? Because we understand him, Jake said simply. We know what he needs, what makes him happy, and what might make him afraid. We respect his nature while giving him a safe, comfortable life. Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward. Representatives, this is the key to understanding humans. We do not dominate our environment through force. We succeed through understanding and cooperation. But your planet is so dangerous, said Representative Zelther, a large aquatic being from the Cetacean Nebula. How do you survive? We adapt, Jake said. We learn, we work together. Let me give you an example. He activated a holographic display, showing a human beach in Australia. This beach is visited by millions of humans every year. The water contains great white sharks, blue-ringed octopuses, and box jellyfish. All of these are deadly predators. The representatives murmured nervously among themselves. But humans still swim here safely, Jake continued. We have lifeguards who watch for dangers. We have warning systems that alert people to hazards. We have medical teams standing by in case of emergencies. We do not eliminate the dangers. We learn to manage them, and if someone is attacked, asked Representative Korthax, a military officer from the Draconian Empire, then we help them, Jake said. We have rescue teams that will risk their own lives to save a single person. We have doctors who will work for hours to save someone who has been injured. We do not abandon people just because they made a mistake. Representative Korthax frowned. But surely you must eliminate the most dangerous threats? Actually, no, Dr. Rodriguez said. We protect them. Some of Earth's most dangerous predators are also our most endangered species. We have created safe spaces where they can live without threatening humans. She activated another display showing a nature reserve in Africa. This is a hippopotamus sanctuary. The animals that started this whole discussion are protected here by human rangers who risk their lives every day to keep them safe from poachers. The chamber fell silent. Jake could see that many of the representatives were struggling to understand this concept. You protect the creatures that could kill you? Representative Thamus asked. Yes, Jake said, because they are not evil. They are just trying to survive, like we are. The planet is big enough for all of us. Chancellor Valneri leaned forward. Human Jake, you speak of cooperation and understanding? But your species has evolved on a world where such cooperation should be impossible. How do you explain this? Jake thought carefully before answering. I think it is because we had to learn to work together. When you are surrounded by dangerous predators, you cannot survive alone. You need your community. You need to trust each other and help each other. But other species faced with similar challenges have either fled their worlds or eliminated the threats, Representative Zelther pointed out. Why did humans choose differently? Because we are curious, Jake said. We want to understand things, not just destroy them. When we encounter something dangerous, our first question is not, how do we kill it, but how do we live with it? Dr. Rodriguez stepped forward again. Representatives, I want to make a formal proposal. Instead of quarantining Earth, we would like to establish a galactic safety initiative. Human experts would work with your species to share our knowledge of threat assessment, emergency response, and survival techniques. What would humans gain from this? Asked Representative Korthax. Suspiciously, knowledge, Jake said immediately. We want to learn from you. Your technologies, your sciences, your cultures. We want to be part of this amazing galactic community. And we want to help, Dr. Rodriguez added. We have spent millennia learning to survive in dangerous conditions. That knowledge could be valuable to other species facing environmental challenges. Chancellor Valneri looked around the chamber. Representatives, we will now hear statements from various species about this proposal. Representative Thamus stood up. The Andromedax Collective has reviewed the human proposal. We believe that their unique perspective on survival and cooperation could be valuable to our mining operations in hazardous environments. Representative Zelther rose next. The Cetacean Alliance agrees. We have underwater cities that face constant threats from geological activity. Human expertise in emergency response could save thousands of lives. One by one, representatives from different species stood to speak. Most were cautiously optimistic about the proposal, though some remained skeptical. Finally, Representative Korthax stood up. The Draconian Empire has concerns about human military capabilities, but we also recognize their potential value as allies. We support the proposal with appropriate safeguards. Chancellor Valneri nodded. The Council will now vote on the Human Integration and Safety Initiative. Jake watched nervously as the representatives cast their votes. The holographic display showed the results in real time. Green lights for approval, red lights for rejection, yellow lights for abstention. Slowly, the chamber filled with green lights. A few yellow lights appeared, and only a handful of red ones. The final tally was overwhelming. 847 votes in favor, 23 against, 45 abstentions. The motion passes, Chancellor Valneri announced. Earth is hereby welcomed as a full member of the Galactic Community, and the Human Integration and Safety Initiative is approved. The chamber erupted in applause. Jake felt tears of joy running down his face. Whiskers, startled by the noise, mowed loudly, which seemed to delight the alien representatives, but Chancellor Valneri raised her hand for silence. However, we have one final request. Human Jake, you have become something of a celebrity throughout the galaxy. Many species want to learn more about Earth's wildlife. Would you be willing to continue your education here while also serving as a cultural ambassador? Jake looked at Dr. Rodriguez, who nodded encouragingly. I would be honored, he said, as the meeting ended. Jake was surrounded by alien representatives who wanted to ask questions about Earth. Some were still nervous, but most were genuinely curious and excited. Jake, said Representative Thymus, I have to ask, are there any creatures on Earth that truly terrify humans? Jake grinned. Well, there is one thing that scares almost every human on the planet. The representatives leaned in eagerly. Spiders, Jake said. Specifically, finding a spider in your bedroom when you are trying to sleep. The representatives looked confused. But you mentioned that some Earth spiders are deadly. Oh, it is not about the deadly ones, Jake explained. It is about the harmless ones that surprise you. A tiny spider that cannot hurt you can make a grown human scream and run away. The representatives exchanged glances. This was clearly a concept they could not understand. Humans are complicated, Jake said with a shrug. We will face down a charging elephant to protect someone we care about, but we will jump on a chair to avoid a small spider. Representative Zelther laughed, a sound like bubbling water. Perhaps that is what makes you so interesting. You are both incredibly brave and remarkably human. As Jake left the council chamber, he realized that his casual mention of a hippopotamus had changed everything. Humans were no longer outsiders trying to join the galactic community. They were valued members with unique skills and perspectives to share, but more than that, they had proven that survival was not about being the strongest or the most fearsome. It was about being adaptable, cooperative, and willing to learn from others. The galaxy was about to discover that the most dangerous planet in known space had produced the most helpful species they had ever encountered. And it all started